to the inquiry.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Could I say, first off, that I absolutely welcome the statement that's been made by the Minister today. It's an enormous step forward, and I think we should pay a huge tribute to the Orgreave Truth and Justice campaign, in particular Kate Flannery and Chris Peace and colleagues for all the great work that they've done for a very long time, and that this was pledged in the last three Labour manifestos, 17, 19 and 24, and so it's a good step forward. Could I ask her, though, to bear in mind very carefully what the member for Normanton and Hemsworth said in his excellent question. Lives were ruined, people were very badly injured as a result of this, suffered for many years, unable to work because of being blacklisted and other things, given charges that were made on trumped-up evidence and suffered consequentially, and it's gone on for a very long time. So I think we need to know a number of things. One is, the terms of reference will allow evidence to be taken under oath from wherever it needs to be taken. Whoever was there, Arthur Scargill and many others, and all those surviving miners that were there at the time, must be given their time to be able to explain exactly what happened. And also the role of South Yorkshire Police in the attacks that took place against those miners, so that we can get to the truth of this. Now, I realise putting a timetable on an inquiry is a slightly difficult thing to do, because you don't want to prevent the inquiry getting all the evidence it needs. But you also don't want an inquiry to run on forever and then losing its impetus and losing its purpose. And so if she could give us some idea of roughly how long she expects the inquiry to report, or whether she would be prepared to accept interim reports as it goes on so that rapid progress can be made. And can she assure the House that where the evidence leads to the culpability of ministers, of police officers, of senior civil servants, or many others throughout a whole command chain which led to the events that the member for Normanton explained, prosecutions will follow, evidence will be put before the court, and if necessary, people will be brought to justice for it. We have to bring to justice the totality of this event.
Well, I agree with the Right Honourable Gentleman about paying tribute to the Orgreave Truth and Justice campaign. And I had the privilege to meet some of the members of that campaign. And I fully acknowledge and appreciate how lives were ruined and families have suffered a lot, actually. Not just the people who were there on the day, but what the wider families have suffered too. So it's absolutely right that we set this inquiry up. Lives have been ruined. As to the terms of reference, I know the Chair will take note of the comments that the Right Honourable Gentleman has just set out, what he would like to see in the terms of reference. As to the timetable, I absolutely agree. I want this to be done in as quickly as possible, but as thoroughly as possible. I'm hoping that in early discussions we were looking at a time frame of around 2 years, but those were the early discussions that we had. And I also just ought to say to the Right Honourable Gentleman, obviously I can't prejudge what the recommendations are going to be from the inquiry, and we will need to look obviously then at those recommendations when they are made.
Graham Morris.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. As Chair of the Coalfields Group of Labour MPs, and on behalf of the group, I welcome this statement. It's an historic moment, and I know the Orgreave Truth and Justice campaigners, and indeed many more Labour colleagues would have wanted to have been here had they had a little more notice. The Minister will know that even last year, organisations such as Northumbria Police were destroying documents, actions that could hinder this inquiry. It's vital that individuals and organisations are held accountable, not just for what happened 40 years ago, but also for any attempts to undermine justice by destroying evidence. Can the Minister confirm the inquiry will have access to all information and evidence, and that no further documents will be destroyed or evidence withheld, and that it will have the powers to compel witness testimony? I hope this inquiry will not only uncover the truth, but also make recommendations to right the wrongs done to many miners, including some of my constituents wrongly convicted under riot and unlawful assembly laws. Ray Patterson, now sadly no longer with us, is one of those miners. I thank the Minister and the Government for honouring this manifesto pledge. Thank you.
Minister.
If I could just deal with this issue around documents, first of all. So, the Home Secretary recently wrote to all police forces in England and Wales and all government departments to remind them of the relevant legislative frameworks for records management and to ask that information relating to the events at Orgreave on the 18th of June 1984 be retained. And she, as I said, she wrote to all government departments as well. And I know that the Home Secretary has asked if any documents have been destroyed, what those documents were and why they were destroyed. And I think it's also worth reminding the House that under Section 35 of the Inquiries Act 2005, it is a criminal offence to destroy or conceal information relevant to a public inquiry.
Speaker, can I thank the Minister very much for her statement and for the carefully chosen words that the Honourable Lady has put forward on what is quite a contentious issue. Can I ask the Minister this question very gently from experience? Does the Minister appreciate that, similar to the prosecution of veterans and service personnel in Northern Ireland, to ask a retired officer why he made a split decision 40 years ago, what was happening in detail, when he made that decision, and what was the exact wording of directions given to him, is and can be incredibly distressing and upsetting for officers now in their 80s or perhaps even their 90s. What support can the Minister offer to them to cope with the re-traumatisation that they will undoubtedly suffer? Thank you.
Well, I think the Honourable Gentleman raises an important point, actually, and this isn't the first time that ministers have had to stand here and agree to inquiries into events that are a long time ago. And the Honourable Gentleman will know that we've worked together on the infected blood inquiry that took a long time to get to that point. So I fully recognise that the length of time means that some people sadly will have died. Other people will be very elderly now when they're having to recall what happened. So this is not how we'd want it to be, is it? But taking the point about anybody who's going to be called to give testimony to the inquiry, I know that the Bishop will be looking at what support needs to be put in place to help those witnesses from the police or from the picketers and their families. That, I'm sure, will be uppermost in the Bishop's mind.